Hello and welcome to a day in the life of a customer service professional in Dynamics 365 customer engagement. For our time today, we'll start off with introductions for your presenters. I'll give a brief overview of the content we'll go through, and then we'll actually spend the majority of our time in a live demonstration of Dynamics 365, and then we'll finish with a brief wrap-up. My name is Jonathan Kroll. I'll be your host today, and I'm an account executive here at Interdyne Artists. And Matt Fonts will be the demo specialist, and he is the director of consulting services here at Interdyne. I'd like to take a quick moment to do a plug of our Vision 2018 conference. It's coming up in April. It'll be at the Ritz-Carlton in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to have a lot of sessions related to the Dynamics 365 customer engagement applications. So if you're interested, log online and take a look and find more information, and hopefully sign up and we can see you there. So we've been doing a day in the life series, and we started off with a day in the life of a marketing professional where we covered lead generation and marketing automation. Then we talked about a day in the life of a sales professional and doing opportunity and account management using a product catalog to build quotes. And we're also covering a day in the life of a customer service representative to talk about service contracts and case management. We'll also take a look at a customer portal. So this is sort of in our mind the full life cycle of working with a customer, all the way from first speaking with them to selling them something to then providing customer service as they're an active customer for you. So again, today we're going to focus on the day in the life of a CSR. Now, to dive deeper into exactly what we plan to discuss today, so we'll start off looking at some built-in dashboards in the system, ways that you can pull KPIs, and we'll talk about business process flows, which are going to be pivotal to case management and having various stages to the process. And we'll just go through some case management in the system, talk about service contracts and SLAs, which will then feed into using that to prioritize cases and put them in queues for a customer service representative to follow up on. And then we'll talk about the knowledge base and how you can use that to help customer service reps answer questions and resolve cases, but also to then push some of that knowledge base out to a portal. And then we'll discuss the Outlook integration, where you can do a lot of the daily activities of a customer service representative right there in Outlook so that they don't have to switch applications. And then I mentioned a customer portal again, so we'll look at what the portal looks like, an out-of-the-box portal, and we'll even interact with it a little bit as well. And that said, we will dive directly into the live demo. So Matt, I'll transition to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I just shared my screen. Can everybody see it?
I see the girl running on the beach.
Okay, great. All right, so let's just jump right into it. I've got 4 different kind of use cases I want to walk through in today's demonstration, kind of from a top-down approach, what you would see as a manager going in and taking a look at all the cases that are currently in your queue. And then I want to also show what it would look like as a support specialist, somebody who's working on a group of cases. And then I want to show a couple use cases of what it would be like from the customer's perspective. So how would they actually engage you when you're using Dynamics 365? All right. So for the first one here, when you first log into CRM, you're going to be presented with your dashboard. And if we're on the last 2 demos that I did, it's a different dashboard for every type of person in the organization. So if you're in marketing, you're going to see a marketing dashboard. If you're in sales, you're going to see a sales dashboard. But in this case, I'm a customer services manager, so I'm going to see my customer service manager dashboard. All right, and so there's some things on here that are important to me. I can see the different cases that are currently open and who they're assigned to. I can see the queues. I can see which cases have which priorities. I can see different entitlements that are going to expire, and we'll talk more about entitlements in a little bit. But the takeaway here is really that these dashboards are completely configurable. This is the stuff that I want to see. If Jonathan's going to log into his and he wants to see cases that are open for his customers, even though he's in sales, he may still want to see those cases. he can add those widgets onto his dashboard. All right, so let's just take one of these widgets and interact with it. There's a few different things you can do. You can refresh it so you can get a real-time look at the data. You can make it larger if you just want to see a larger representation of it, or you can actually interact with it. The middle button, I can click it out here. I can make the chart larger, and then I can interact with these bars. So if I just want to see, what cases is Ann currently working on, I can click on Ann. You can see the data over on the left here refreshes. I can click out of it, and it goes back to the full view. Same thing. I can go click on David. I can see David's cases. All right. So let's just pick one of these, and we'll go into it and take a look at the actual layout of the case itself. So I'm going to pick one that's currently assigned to me. I'm logged in as the administrator over here on the right, and I'm just going to open it up. Okay. So looking across the top here, there's a lot of information. It can look a little overwhelming if you're not used to the layout of a CRM form. So I'm going to go through some of the important areas, and hopefully it'll make a little bit of sense. So, and the top section here of pretty much all of the entities in CRM, there's a process flow bar. So you can see what stage you're currently in. So in this case, we're currently in the identify stage where we're identifying, the customer and the contact and the actual, issue itself. All right, and we can progress this through the process, and we can get a real-time view as to how this case is progressing. All right. So if I look down through the form, I can see there's case details, there's a case title that's just a real quick description of the issue. Here's the customer. The first important field on here is this entitlement. Okay, so entitlement is really a service contract. It just means that they are entitled to a certain level of support. So in this case, the customer is Tesla and the contact is Jeffrey, and he's entitled to gold support for this particular issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill into that entitlement, and we can see what does that actually mean. All right, so I can see he's got a start date of March 1st and an end date of March 1st a year out, and his SLA is a 1-hour response. Okay, so I can take these cases and I can group them by their corresponding SLAs. I can group them by their products, and I can also see which entitlements and which cases are nearing an expiration in terms of are they still in support. All right, so let's just go back to the case. In the middle here, we can see several different things. Activities are just any interaction that we've had related to this case. So any of the emails, any tasks, any follow-up appointments would all be listed under this activities section. Post and assistant we'll skip for now. Under KB records, these are our knowledge base records. So what it does is it uses the title of the case, and it goes out and automatically pulls back ones that it thinks may be relevant to the issue at hand, and gives you some actionable things that you can do. All right, so I can link this knowledge base article to the current case. I can actually send this article to the contact on the case by clicking this middle button. And you can see it just drops the email, the content into an email that I can send to them. Or I can just drill in and get a larger view of the knowledge base article itself. Okay. And then over on notes, I can enter notes that are relevant to the case if I just want to track something because other people are going to come and look at this case, or it's a long-running case, whatever the issue may be. You can track those in here as notes. All right, so we can see what stage we're in. We can see what status the case is currently in, and we can act appropriately on that case. All right, so that's kind of the first use case as a manager, looking at the cases that are currently open, and then drilling into cases and examining them as necessary. I'll stop here and see if there's any questions.
Questions here. I'll just go in order. So can you change the stages of that process flow?
You can. So these process flows are configurable, and I'll show you. I won't actually change it, but I'll show you what it looks like to change it. If I go into Dynamics 365 into the configuration area, under settings and processes, and there's a process category called process flows. So the one that we would modify in order to change the layout would be the one that's related to the case. And you can see there's our identify, there's our research, there's our resolve, and we can add more stages, we can add more data points as necessary. And you can actually do some actionable things as well. So as it moves from one stage to the next, maybe we want to send off an email, maybe as it's resolved, we want to send a follow-up, whatever your business process is. Yeah, those are completely configurable.
Okay, awesome. And you can have multiple flows, it looks like, right? So it doesn't have to be just one for a case. You can have different
exactly.
case types.
Yep. So you can go in and you can change which flow, which business process flow you're using on an individual case. So if you have different product lines, that you're supporting, then maybe you want to use a different flow based on which product is in play. And that's not hard to do. There's just a button down here that allows you to switch your process. You can do that programmatically as well.
The next question is relationship oriented. So we have this case, but how does it? I see it's attached to a customer, but there's not a contact. I mean, what's the relationship? Can it be one to many? In multiple cases for one account or contact, or how does that work?
So out of the box, the way that it works is you can have multiple cases per customer, multiple cases per contact. But the way that the CRM platform works is if you wanted to have a many-to-many relationship where you had one case that was tied to many customers, then it's very easy to go in and configure the system to do that. So you can go into the editor here. Again, I won't do this. I'll just kind of show you, where it's at. And in the navigation, we can add a brand new relationship. So if I wanted one case to be tied to 5 different customers, maybe we wanted to include a vendor, maybe we wanted to include a partner or an affiliate, whatever on that actual case, we could do that here.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's all we have for now.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. All right, so the next thing I want to show are the knowledge base articles. We showed how we can consume a knowledge base article on a case itself, but I wanted to just quickly show that there is a full knowledge base setup in Dynamics 365, and they're pretty good. I mean, if I go into one of the articles here, you can have different types of formats. You can have a question and answer. You can have a how do I. You can have a those are the two that come to mind right now. But you can also associate different keywords so that when earlier when we were using case control and it showed us that particular knowledge base article, you can associate different keywords that are going to make it pop up and make it relevant to the particular case that an agent may be working. And you can get pretty advanced with it, or you can keep it pretty simple. So in this case, you can see there's also a status that says whether it's published, whether it's been approved. So anybody can go in and create a new knowledge base article. But there's an approval process that says, maybe a support manager has to approve and publish it before it becomes something that's going to be publicly available that can be sent, to your customers. Okay. On that same note, on the setup standpoint, earlier we talked about SLAs, and SLAs are generally thought of, at least in my mind, as a guaranteed response in terms of a break-fix type scenario. So if something is broken, I you within an hour and help you fix the problem. But what Dynamics 365 has done is they've actually expanded that SLA so that it can work across different dictates that they need that order shipped, that day. You can define an SLA that will do exactly that. So if I go into my setup under service management, I can get open up the SLA area, and I can create SLAs regarding any number of entities. You just have to enable the entity in the customization. So I could say, an order is going to have an SLA, and I could go and add that SLA there. So the SLAs in CRM or in Dynamics 365 can get, pretty advanced. Likewise, the last kind of setup item that I want to talk about are those queues. All right, so if somebody has a 1 hour guaranteed response, you can set up different queues that can help you with your routing of cases to available agents. All right, so if I'm in my setup or in my settings area, I can go into my queues and I can see the ones that are currently set up. Okay, and I can go into my case view. I'll just go back home here, pop my cases out. And I can quickly add these cases to those queues. All right, so just here I can do add to queue, and I can say these are going to be different tiers of supports. Maybe I'm going to do an escalation. Maybe I'm going to do a high priority, or maybe I'm going to lower the priority depending on the need and the SLA associated with that case. Okay, that's my second use case. I'll stop here again and see if there's any questions.
Yes, so from the perspective of the customer service representative, how would they get notified of the next case that's in this queue?
Sure. So there are different views in Dynamics 365, and one of those views is just my active cases. So these are the cases that are actually assigned to you, the ones that you've accepted. But then there's also the capability to create any number of views. So earlier I showed you the different queues that are available. You can open those queues directly and see which items have not yet been taken off the queue. Alternatively, you can also create whatever views you want. So you could have cases that are escalated. So here's the escalated case view. Or you could have cases that are in a particular queue. So there's a number of ways you can kind of skin that cat. The easiest one is just to drill into the queues and see which ones have not yet been taken. But from a usability standpoint, the easiest thing is to do is to create a view that shows both the cases that are assigned to me and then also the cases that are queued that have not yet been taken, so that I can assign those to myself.
All right, that's all the questions we have for now.
Excellent. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is kind of the use case. I receive an email. I'm a customer service representative. I'm an agent, and people are emailing me and asking me questions. Okay, so the other cases that came in via some other channel. Maybe they came in through our forum, or maybe they came in through a phone, and they were created, and assigned. But if I want to create my own case, it's very easy to do. All right, so here's my inbox. This is just in my Office 365 email client, and I can click the Dynamics 365 integration here, and I can quickly get some information. This is pulling it out of CRM, and I can see the information right in line with my email. Okay, so this is a case that came in. I just set up a new 3D printer, and I cannot locate the driver. Can you help me? And I can, let's see, I got to drag my GoToMeeting thing out of the way, but I can very quickly create a case. I can look up different knowledge base articles, and I can do that right in line with my email. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the Create Case button, and it's going to ask me for all of that required information. I can add it. I can associate the entitlement. I can associate the follow-up dates, all from within my email without having to actually leave CRM or do any type of double entry. That's the third use case. Any questions on that one?
No questions at the moment.
Okay, cool. All right, so the final use case that I want to show is kind of external to CRM. It's using another, of the Dynamics 365 technologies, which are the portals. So Microsoft built some portals that integrate, very nicely with CRM that are customer-facing. And so the one I'm going to show you today is a default one, kind of out-of-the-box portal. But these are, again, configurable. You can go in and do your own branding. You can add your own entities, your own information, on this portal. But this is kind of just what you get out of the box, and I wanted to just show you what it looks like. All right, so earlier when we were talking about our knowledge base, you could see the different articles that were available. Inside this portal, you're going to get those same knowledge base articles. So if they were published for consumption inside the CRM, they're also going to be published, for consumption in the portal. And this is going to take a second to load because I didn't preload it before the demo here. I can go in and browse the knowledge base. Okay. Not sure why it's not pulling my articles up right now. Well, it's supposed to pull the articles that are showing in CRM. For whatever reason, it's not doing it right now. The second thing that you can do inside of the portal is you can actually create a new case. So if you wanted to have a section on your website where somebody could create a case, you can create it from here and it'll go directly into Dynamics 365. And then finally, there's actually a fully functional forums section on this portal where I can go and actually ask a question and utilize the community functionality within CRM. And then people, the case agents could answer the question, or you could have other people that are also forum members could also answer that question. But kind of the system of record and the place that all this information lands is inside of Dynamics 365. Okay, so I can drill into one of these. I can see kind of what it looks here, what it looks like. Okay. Now, as people are going in and they're registering for forum access, or they're consuming these knowledge-based articles, they're registering to log in to this environment, and that registration information is automatically being pushed into CRM as a contact or as a lead, depending on how you configure it. And you can automatically start marketing to those individuals. So it's a nice kind of handoff from service back to marketing. So maybe they're looking, they are searching for an answer to a question that's kind of generic. They find you via Google. They land on your knowledge base article. Now all of a sudden you've got them into your marketing engine. Okay, that's my fourth use case, and we'll stop here and see if there's any questions again.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So at the beginning you said this was a customer portal. What other portals are there?
There's a number of portals that are available. I don't have a list of them in front of me, but I can, if you leave Jonathan your contact information, I can get a list to you. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me at the moment, though.
Yeah, and off the top of my head, there's a partner type of portal more on the sales side if you have a third-party agency selling on your behalf type of situation. And then obviously the customer one, and then correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, but aren't these fairly configurable or customizable where you could build your own portal and put whatever information you need and it's accessible to whomever you need to access it?
Right, that's the idea. So you've got Dynamics 365, which is the the internally facing mechanism. The portals is supposed to take the information that you would like to publish to make accessible to either anonymous folks or to your customers, and add that to a portal. So they are configurable. I can't say that you can add anything to them, but you can add a lot of information that's within Dynamics 365, including custom entities, so that they can be consumed externally.
Okay, and then you sort of answered another question here, whether you can require a sign-on or leave it open. Somebody mentioned that the sign-on button in the top right, so it can be anonymous or it can require login information to access the data.
Yeah, exactly. So if you click the sign-in button, it's going to ask us for registration information. This is configurable as to what you're actually requiring. It's going to send them if you require their email address to reach a certain area in your forum or in your knowledge base, then it's going to ask them to actually register and confirm that you have a valid email address. If you want it to be anonymous, then that's also configurable. You can have your knowledge base or portions of your knowledge base, publicly accessible. Same with the forums. You could have certain forums that are, publicly accessible, and other ones that require registration.
Okay, awesome. And we got one last one here. So when it comes to, connecting this to our record, specifically for somebody filled out a forum post or was requesting a knowledge-based article, how does that get tracked, or does it get tracked, and do you have control over that?
So if somebody fills out a forum post and they ask a question, I assume the question is it immediately available for others to see?
Does it track back to their record in CRM? How does that data get pulled back to their record in CRM, I guess, is the question.
Sure. Let's see if I can remember exactly where this is. It's under Community, and then under Forums. I'll pull up one of the posts and I'll show you. Okay, so we have our general discussion forum, and I'll pull up one of the topics. Okay, so you can see on here, there's relationships to different entities in CRM. So when you're setting up your forum posts, you can have a lookup here that said, relate this back to a contact or to a lead. It's dependent upon how you set up, CRM. If you're setting it up such that it's bringing in leads, or if you're setting up such that it's associating to existing contacts or customers, then that relationship would just show, right here on the actual forum post.
Okay, awesome. That is all of the questions. Okay. So I can take back over just to wrap up, and I wanted to talk a little bit about pricing and how you can buy Dynamics 365. So currently today there's 4 main applications within the Dynamics 365 customer engagement suite or plan, if you will. You have sales, customer service, field service, and project service automation. So again, we talked about customer service today, and we had a webinar on sales before. We hope to have some stuff on field service in the PSA app coming soon. But to be able to purchase an individual app or a license or subscription rather to an individual app, it's $95 per user per month. If you need access to multiple applications, you can subscribe to the plan, which would be $115 per user per month, and you have access to all 4 of those applications, assuming that you set up the user security privileges to give somebody access to all of the applications, and then of course to what level of access they have to it. There's also a limited user called a team member that's $10 per user per month, and that natively gives you access to all of the applications that the organization subscribes to as a whole. So even if you have a plan for sales and customer service, but only a couple of people are in sales and only a couple of people are in customer service, the team members can get to both of them with their license. Now, I'd be remiss not to mention a special offer that's running right now for the sales and customer service applications. The sales app just by itself is $40 per user per month, and then if you needed to add customer service, which is what we just looked at today, it's $65 per user per month. And then the team member users even get a discounted rate. And you see there's some caveats to those licenses that you have to make sure that you're under a maximum number of users. And this offer does end very soon. I mean, it is March 20th today, so there's only a week and a half or so left that this offer is still going to be available. We definitely would welcome you to reach out to us for new pricing beyond March. There's some new announcements coming really soon, so some stuff we're excited about. Now, this is all software related. Go ahead, Matt.
If you don't mind, I wanted to show, because earlier I couldn't get the knowledge base to show, and I figured out so I'm just going to show that really quickly. So on my screen here, I had screwed up the navigation link on the knowledge base here, but you can see this is actually pulling from the knowledge base. So you have the most popular articles, you've got most recent articles, and then you've got your search bar up here. So I can just drill into it and actually see the knowledge base. Sorry, that was driving me crazy. So I'm giving you back control, Jonathan.
That was worth the interruption. Not a problem. Awesome. So we got to see the knowledge base in the portal after all. So again, there's a special offer that's out there. It's a limited time offer. It's about to expire. Please contact us if you'd like to learn about the new pricing that's coming. So again, that was all software related. A lot of people always want to know, okay, well, how much does it cost to actually implement this solution? So we like to sort of give a ballpark for different areas that we generally see our clients falling into, whether they're fairly straightforward processes today, maybe not coming from an existing CRM solution, just looking for an out-of-the-box product with some training on how to use it, some fairly basic setup. That's what we would sort of put in this basic training implementation package. Then we have, what more standard folks are looking for, which is, we do need some level of setup and configuration, maybe coming from an existing or a legacy system where we need to get some data in. We've got some more advanced processes that we need to make sure that we're tracking and configuring in the system. That's a week to a couple of weeks worth of time typically. And then you have the other end of the spectrum from basic training, which is, this is a complex implementation. There's multi-organization, multiple locations for the organization. There's probably different systems in play that we need to interface with and exchange data with. And then, more extensive configuration, including, maybe custom entities or all sorts of customizations that would be required to fulfill the, the business requirements. So, again, this is fairly high level and, just some buckets that people would typically fall in. But, we do work with a lot of different types of organizations, and we can, essentially come up with more refined numbers that would match the requirements that your company has from a CRM solution. And that's all we have for this presentation. We definitely appreciate you tuning in